So we've been here a while now, and I think it's about time we got some drinking water. So we've had half a setup already for a few months, but I want it all finished so that we don't have to buy all this bottled water. You know, we're having to recycle all these waste plastics. So we're going to take the water from the stream here, going to send it through the inlet we've done already. We're going to collect it in 4 barrels. We're going to send it through some filters. We're going to get a UV light, sterilise it, and then we should have drinking water, which will be great. Okay, so what have we got here? We have this cheap little Amazon filter, which I'm going to be using as a pre-filter. So this is going to protect the pump. It's not really much to do with our drinking water. It's just to stop any bits getting stuck and damaging the pump. Then we have the pump. So the water comes from the tank. It goes through that filter I've just shown you, goes into the pump. From the pump, it goes into this, which is a very large particulate filter, and that should filter out the rest of any micro bits that are in the water. The way that we're planning to do the tanks means that there will be very little particles in the water. So these aren't, I mean, this is a very good one, but it's not quite as critical as if you were sort of pumping it from a borehole and then chucking it straight into your filter. And then the final stage is a UV steriliser, which is what kills any bacteria. So this takes all the bits out, this kills the bacteria, and then it's safe to drink. So this is the water pump, which we've been using for a while. As you can see, it's kind of dirty. We had that emergency fix that we had to do on it. I'll put the details on the screen, but it's quite a good system. It's got lots of good specs, and it does high pressure up to about 6 bar, I think, which we don't need 6 bar here at the moment, but it's got a kind of digital screen on it. So next to all the other pumps that you get, this one seems to be a bit smarter, which usually for me is a bad thing, but this so far has meant that if there's an error, you can just see it on the screen. So yeah, this one is really good. Right, so now we've got the pump, the filter and the UV light all working inside. We are going to connect these drums together so that we have a larger capacity, because one of these lasts us 1 day, but it runs out right at the end. So I'd like to not have to refill it every night. And we're going to run up the hill, and we're going to move the intake slightly higher, because the pressure down here, although positive, isn't quite as much as I'd like, so it's not pushing it through as fast as I'd like. So we're going to go and run a little bit more pipe up there, move the intake, connect these together, and then we should be about there. So this is how we're going to fill the barrels. It's a toilet float valve connected to an adapter, another adapter, another adapter, and then a final 25mm input. Took me quite a while to get all the bits, together, fitting, and this hasn't come apart since I ordered it from Screwfix. It's just stayed like this in case I lost any of the bits and wasn't sure which order they went in. So water comes in there, float valve, that moves, opens the valve, and then fills the bucket. So hopefully we're good. Should also mention I bought a little eye hook for the end of the float valve, and also for the end of the ball, so that I can tie a string between the two, and that just gives the connection, because these are meant for toilets, so they have a little chain that goes between them, but because I'm using them over the distance of the top of the barrel to the bottom of the barrel, I need something a bit longer than that, and I wasn't sure the weight of a chain over that distance probably would be overcome by that float, but I thought some fishing line or something might be a bit better suited for this purpose. As you can see, the water pipe is getting swept away from the where I want it by the river every time it changes height. So what I've thrown down here is some bits of timber to clip the pipe to. I thought before I hooked it over some trees, but then it created an air pocket for me. So I'm going to peg this and then clip it so that it's suspended high enough above the river to not be swept away. I did bury it in the stones initially, thinking that'd be fine, but it changes height by like a metre pretty quickly, which just swept everything away. So we're going to pin this, and then we're going to go up the hill and then just move the intake a little higher just to get a bit more pressure. For anybody wondering how the gutter intake is doing, it's doing amazingly. All the bits are captured in it. One of the things that I have had to do is I've come up here, I mean I'm up here every couple of days anyway and I just check on it, but the position moves, so securing it better would be a good idea. The reason I haven't so far is because I wasn't sure if the height was correct, but the water arrives at the other end nice and clean. I mean the water in here is clean to start with, which helps, but yeah, I was kind of worried it was going to clog up almost immediately, but actually it's doing a really good job. So the water comes from here down to there, across the river, up to these 4 tanks, and then because I didn't want to bury the pipe, I have to manually switch it now, which I'm going to be working on a solution for, but back down to the river, emptying in the river when the tanks are not filling. Comes into tank number 1 with the float valve, through the pipe tank number 2, through the pipe tank number 3, through the pipe tank number 4, into pre-filter, stopcock, into the pump, into the particle filter, into the UV light, and then to where we need it. So the reason I've got 4 tanks instead of 1 big tank is because I was intending on doing a natural water filter. I've even got all the gravel and sand and stuff to bring it down from there and just filter it through the sand, but the water's so clear already. Like when it gets here, it's basically like I never see any bits in it. So I was like, if I take it down here and then send it through a load of sand and gravel and charcoal, I feel like I'm just adding bits to it. It's already very clear, and I have to put the other filters on anyway, because I think to pass planning, I just don't want people looking at this system going, oh well, hang on a minute, where's your proper filtration? So I bought these with the intention of doing the natural filtration, and then when I thought about it, I thought, you know what, I probably don't need it. Also, it makes each of these much easier to manage. If I have to service one, I can drain one off. Well, I mean, it would all drain because they're all connected together, but it gives me a bit more flexibility with if there's a problem with one. Instead of the whole tank failing, I've got 3 others. I will be insulating that line there so that that bit doesn't freeze, and then the loop that goes back down to the river is, like you can see it coming up and back down there. So this stretch will need insulating, but yeah. Been having a bit of a problem with the UV light. It didn't light up, and some people say that there's a safety measure because you're not supposed to look at it, so that when you pull it out it doesn't blind you, but I was having a hard time. I looked through the gap and it wasn't on, so I contacted UK Water Filters, which is where we got the tank from, and just said, look, it's not working, and they sent me out a new ballast because they think that's what the problem is. But here the post is quite difficult to get, and I only spoke to them 2 days ago and they managed to send this out, and it's come straight out, so I'm really happy with them. I'd recommend, and the filters were pretty cheap as well. We got both the big filter and the UV filter from them, and yeah, I'd say I was pretty impressed with the speed of that delivery. I should mention that was also free of charge. Towards the night before Christmas, all were in bed, but Rob was outside scratching his head. We're about done though. So I finished the insulation. We've got drinking water. We've got quite an advanced test to submit and have sent off to the laboratory to get it all checked out before we, well, you know what, I'm going to drink it anyway, but my wife and son, we'd probably better wait until we get that tested. So I'll probably post it as a short video just to show what kind of metals and things we've got in the water, if there are any. If not, then post it as well. See the moon. Maybe you can't see it. I can see it. Oh, it's gone. Okay, the next one we're going to be doing the final bit on the micro hydro. I think I solved the problem for that yesterday, at least in my mind. So if you'd like to come see that, come join us. Been nice to see you there. I'll see you in the next one.